Here comes a new challenger!
Hello there everyone, and welcome to the Robin analysis. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about why I feel Robin is kind of like this weird kind of character. I can't tell if this character is mid or high sometimes. It's very strange. And before I get into it, if I'm wrong about any information that I put in this video, or if there are things I might be, misunderstanding, please let me know down in the comments below. I don't care if I'm wrong. If I'm being corrected, that's perfectly fine. Just, don't be so rude about it, right? Because I know there are definitely people that are very adamant for their mains, right? And I understand that because there's so many characters in this roster, there are definitely characters that are not as seen well in the limelight. You know what I mean? So let's get started. Why do I think Robin is kind of like a weak character? Let's go over his weaknesses. Let's quickly go over his strengths. Now, Robin has very, very powerful normals and special moves, right? So for instance, his normals, right? Let's go over those. Jabs or whatever. Having a gentleman and having a rapid jab is pretty good though, so I'll give it that. And both of these kill, which is extremely nice. Another thing too, he's got very quick tilts. This one not so much, but for having a character with disjoints, these are very fast spammable tilts that can put your opponent in a in a bad spot, right? And that's sort of like what Robin likes, is just putting you in bad positions, because then he could take advantage of sort of trapping you, frame trapping you in certain situations, right? Where you have like moves like arc fire, right? And if it catches them, well then you got combos for days and you can deal some massive damage. But what's really nice about Robin, from my personal experience, is that Robin has very good aerials, big hitboxes when he has Left Sword. Like Nair, for instance, Nair has a lot of range, right? So if we set our CPU here, let's go, yeah, like this is about the size of Chrom's jab. Big hitbox. And this isn't just the only one. There are a lot of hitboxes in which Robin can sort of just beat out with his Nair. It has a massive hitbox. As a matter of fact, all moves with Left Sword become just bigger hitboxes. For instance, all right, let me show you up smash. Up smash without Left Sword is this puny thing, all right? It sucks. But then when you have Left Sword, it even catches them on the ground, which is nice and deals massive damage, along with being a very good kill confirm off of an arc fire. It's just really good at just straight up killing, which is nice. And again, because you have bigger hitboxes, that means you can space a lot better. You can run away with it, right? You can sort of like approach and then run away with it. Or something you can do with Robin is, say for instance, attack, dash, cancel, Nair, and then run away with it, right? So instead of doing something like this, you can do like, I have to, let me see if I can do this even correctly. There's something like that. Like you do a dash attack and then you just cancel immediately, halting all your momentum. So when you're going back, you're not like sort of doing that. You just go straight up and then you go farther back. So it's really good in that aspect. You have these massive hitboxes, so generally your opponent's not really going to be able to sort of get in your face, right? Another thing too, you have obnoxious zoning with, say, Thunder. This move doesn't have a lot of range, but if your opponent tries to, say, run into you, well, it's going to be quite an annoying move to deal with. And you have a lot of these charges. Not only that, but that kills. L Thunder is really good at killing. It's quick, and it's just a good projectile. And of course you have Arc Thunder. Arc Thunder isn't as good as it was in Smash 4, as in Smash 4, I mean, you basically got kill confirms off of it and grabs and other such things. But essentially what they did is they replaced how Arc Thunder was in the last game to Arc Fire, okay? So, different move, but still pretty good nonetheless. Not only that, but again, a kill move, and it's a slower projectile, which means that, if L Thunder, most people could like try to, say, spot dodge it, right? Say like in this scenario, like this, like around this distance, if I have like L Thunder ready, they'll probably like spot dodge it, but if I have Arc Thunder, they'll probably still catch them because it kind of has like the slow startup, so it's good at catching people. And of course you have the final one, which is of course, this move never kill screens. Did you guys know that? It's really weird. I would also say it's kind of like the worst out of all the 4 projectiles you can get. In my personal opinion, I just don't think Thoron is that good other than being like a massive hitbox that lasts. You know, I would say out of all of his thunder spells, you'd much go with L Thunder or Arc Thunder or just regular Thunder. The best part is too, even if you have 1 charge like that, you can still go up to max charge. So as long as you have like 1 little bit of left of usage, you can go full power if you want to. And the best part is you can wave wave bounce and be reverse with it, which means your movement is going to be incredibly good, especially in the air. Robin's movement in the air is pretty good, and having these just sort of mixes up the opponent, and then you can just sort of do your thing, right? Another thing too is recovery. While it's not great, I'll get into that later, it does go pretty far, all things considered. Not only that, but the first hitbox, the first Elwyn, if you hit it like right above here, it spikes, which is pretty nice. You know, which means you can sort of just like run off stage and just do that and try to spike them, maybe, or you know, you still hit them off stage. And even though this is also limited, Elwyn does come back fairly quickly. And even when you get knocked out off stage, for instance, so say you run out of Elwyn and you get knocked off stage, you still got this little hop here, and hey, out of that little hop you can still do Elwyn. So again, pretty good, I'd say. So in terms of recovery, it's not so bad, but it's definitely not the best, and like I said, we'll get into it. And for the final special to talk about, because obviously you have Arcfire here, which can combo into itself and is just crazy, but you also of course have Nosferatu. Now Nosferatu is an interesting command grab because, well, it heals you, and from my understanding, it heals you more if it grabs from behind, or you deal more damage if it hits from behind. Regardless, it's still pretty good. You still get healed, which is important. You can mash out of this though, do be warned of that. So now that we went over those, let's go over to some weaknesses. Now here's the thing. Robin having limited tools sucks, because that means that for a period of time you won't have access to them. It also doesn't help that Robin doesn't really have the greatest out of shield option. Like, yeah, Nair's good, but it's not like the best you could have, right? It's not like a frame 3 Nair, which is guaranteed to get you out of most situations, right? So that kind of blows. Another thing is, you know, it applies to special moves. So if you run out of special moves for a time, you're very much in disadvantage. Now, obviously, your opponent probably won't know when you get your tools back, you know, your tomes and your 11 sword. However, I should stress that in most matches it's easy to kind of get around them, like moves like Arcfire and stuff. You just sort of need to condition your opponent into shielding and doing other such things, because obviously if say they shield, then you know you can go for something like, say here, they Arcfire, they're shielding Arcfire, and then you can go for a down smash, which can shield break. It's very good in that aspect. So just giving out an example, but the main issue here is that of course you can escape or you can take the hit. You know, some people may try to SDI, though I find in some cases if a Robin is doing like Arcfire into another Arcfire, if you SDI or get hit by it, you're still gonna get caught either way, because this thing goes pretty far, all things considered. I mean, they buffed it at one point, so like from over here it goes all the way there. That's pretty far, okay? You know, obviously at that distance you probably won't be able to combo off of it too good, but that's still, you know, it's still pretty good for a projectile, you know. And you know, it's a combo projectile, it's meant to combo. So of course if you get hit by it once, you can get hit by it multiple times or whatever, and so on and so forth. Another thing too is that when you lose your tomes, there's also disadvantages to that. So for instance, throwing out, say like you're throwing out thunder or whatever, right? And let's say you kind of forgot you ran out. If you try using these, and this applies for Arcfire as well, like let me get to like that last Arcfire charge. So look how fast I can hold shield. That's pretty fast, but if I do it without, it's a little worse. So you kind of get punished for throwing out a move, like a special move, when you have no tome. In my personal opinion, I think what they should do is make it so you have less lag when you have no tome, right? It could be used as a fake out, similar to Street Fighter Alpha, how you could press like core circle forward for a fireball, but instead of pressing punch, you press like the start button, right, for player 1 and player 2, and then you do like a fake out move. I think that'd be great for Robin, because that essentially leads to, you know, better conditioning, because then once you do get those moves, if they're shielding already or they spot dodge, you can just catch them with an actual arc fire. I think that'd be sick, but hey, that's just me. Of course, you also lose out in Levin Sword, of course, when you do run out of this. Now, when it comes to Levin Sword, there are a few different properties I should stress. When you start off a round, you know, when you start the game, you don't have Levin Sword right away. You only get it right away after you lose a stock. Now, when it comes to it, there are fast methods to getting Levin Sword. For instance, if you spam out smash attacks, you can see I'm kind of getting it a little bit faster than normal, right? This also applies to your aerials. If you do air smash attacks, then you will get it a lot faster. So if you do smash stick, right, you'll generally get Levin Sword a lot faster. If you do AB smash as well, it's still pretty good. And of course, aerials are much more spammable than, you know, some flimsy smash attacks. And to give credit's due, bronze sword smash attacks, or sorry, bronze sword aerials aren't that bad. The smash attacks, they're horrid, but it is pretty funny to get a kill with them every once in a while. But these aren't that bad, especially at the angles that they send. Like, for instance, you may actually want bronze sword in some situations. So for instance, if I wanted, like, as an example, or here, let me try one more time. Boom, or I suck. But you kind of get what I'm getting at. Because of the angle it sends, you can kind of like want this sort of weird combo, and then you go into Levin Sword. I'm not a Robin main, but you can kind of see what I'm saying, right? You know, I just play this character for fun, but still, that's pretty good, all things considered. So bronze sword isn't that much of a hindrance, especially when, again, you can just spam out aerials, and it is a disjoint, right? And disjoints are pretty good to have, especially in the case of Robin, who has really good air mobility, whereas ground mobility, that's not a problem. He is very slow on the ground, which is weird because, you know, in the actual games, he's not that slow at all. But hey, what am I to say? So yeah, Robin is kind of slow. I mean, I guess I get the idea. He has combo projectiles. He has very strong projectiles, though some of them don't really have great priority, like Art Fire. If it doesn't activate like that and you hit it, it just dissipates. And unlike, say, Ryu's fireballs, right? Ryu can spam those out as many times as he wants. If Robin loses Arc Fire, well, then that's that, right? But generally, when it comes to it, once you lose your materials, it is more of a hindrance than it is a blessing, obviously. Now, of course, you do have discard. Discard, in some cases, can actually be pretty good. You do get some kill confirms with it as well, such as, say, let's just waste Nosferatu as an example. You can grab the book, and then you can go for something like, say, you can go for like that, you know, Z drop footstool into, like, say, a down air. Now, I'm not a Robin main, so I suck at that, but I've had it happen to me. Okay, you know, I'm not gonna pretend like I'm a pro at every character in the game. I'm just trying to, you know, say what I believe are a character's strengths and cons, you know. But the main point I'm trying to get at is that Robin has a really bad disadvantage. And if you don't have, like, if you're not really good at conditioning, then there's no way you can force opponents to shield or to jump. If you can't anti-air, then of course people are just going to jump in the air and avoid you, right? If you're not really good at spacing, they're going to punish you for it. Obviously, Levin Sword has a lot of shield stun, but still, you know, generally you will still get caught. And once you run out of tools, like, you don't really have great methods on dealing with your opponent. Generally, it's just going to be a rough time. And as I said, this recovery, while it goes pretty far in terms of distance, because nothing's covering Robin from above, the only thing you can do is sort of mix up the angle. And if you don't mix it up well, or you don't mix it up often, people are going to punish you and you're going to lose your stock fairly early. So that's kind of like one of the main issues with Robin, is that because he's so slow on the ground, he can't really, like, do, like, say, unless you have Levin Sword, you can't really do, like, say, a falling landing aerial on their shield and then, like, backdash away to try to whiff punish for that, right? If you have Bronze Sword, you're not going to be able to do that too well because they're still going to catch you, since Bronze Sword doesn't have that much shield shield stun. And so in my personal opinion, I feel like without, you know, Levin Sword and without tomes, you're not really going to be all too strong. Yes, Robin has amazing tools, but at the end of the day, those tools are very limited, right? And having a moveset that is limiting is a problem in my opinion. Now, of course, like I said, you have discard, and discard can actually save you in some situations too, because let's say you lose out Elwyn. Sure, you may lose out Elwyn, but if you hit ledge and the person or like, let's say you grab to ledge and they were trying to edge guard you, they missed their edge guard, they could potentially, as a hypothetical situation, you know, you throw your Elwyn, they get hit with the book, and then you can go for like an edge guard, right? Obviously you could die for it, but it's just a hypothetical. It's just me saying like a possibility, right? So generally with Robin, it's a lot of camping, it's a lot of spacing, which again, Robin has, you know, really good spacing tools. I'm not going to deny that. At the end of the day though, you know, having a really strong advantage state, also having a very horrid disadvantage state is kind of the main reason why I don't know if I want to see Robin as like a high tier or a mid tier. I always flip-flop between the two, because while there are a lot of strengths to Robin, there are also a lot of weaknesses. And so for me, the way I see it, right, this way I see it, I don't really see Robin as that amazing of a character, but when he hits you, you're winning, right? It's sort of like DK in that respect, right? DK, if he hits you, he's winning, and then he gets hit, and then he's losing again. And the last thing I didn't mention, because I felt like it wasn't something worth talking about, was grabs. I know some people may have been like, well, what about grabs? Well, in my opinion, I think these grabs suck outside of back throw, because back throw actually, you know, kills. And just like with any grab, it has terrible grab range. You'd think that, you know, you think that it had like a bigger hitbox than what most characters have for their grabs, like maybe Palutena grab, but nope. And of course, you do have pivot grab, but no matter how hard you try, there you go, I got one. You know, but it's not like you get like anything true off of it. I mean, I guess you can go for like down throw, and if they jump, right, say they jump, then you could just go for like, you know, nair, right, and it'll catch them, or like an up air and it'll catch them. And if you read that they're going to do a spot dodge, then you can go, or not a spot dodge, air dodge, right? If they do a normal air dodge or a directional air dodge, then I guess you can sort of catch them with arc fire and then, you know, kill them for that. So I mean, I guess down throw isn't so bad in that respect. Back throw is, like I said, a kill throw, but it's not going to kill like extremely early. And for most characters, like 130, 120, which is still pretty good. Like 120, 130 to 140, around that range for most characters, is still pretty good. All right, so it's not a bad kill throw, but it's one of those kill throws where it's pretty much only going to be usable at ledge, you know, unless you reach like much higher percents. In which case, Robin should have already taken your stock, in my opinion. But hey, that's just me. And of course, if you pressure Robin, there's not much he can do, as he does have pretty bad out of shield options, in my personal opinion, right? But that is why I think Robin is a weak character. But you can tell me in the comments below if I'm wrong about that. Of course, I don't mind. I'm always open to listening and looking at what you guys have to say. So please take care of yourselves. Have an amazing rest of your day. 1,000 subs before the end of the year, which is doable. And with that, I hope to see you guys in my next video. Please tell me, because hey, I'd like to know more about these characters. I want to learn about the entire roster. I don't want to go to a tournament in which some random person comes in with their random whack character and then starts beating me because I didn't know the matchup or anything about the character. So let me know about, you know, these characters. Obviously, every character's got their gimmicks, and Robin's definitely does have as well. But with that, please take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.
I'm coming through, partner, we can do this right. You're the fire, I'm the wind tonight. Burning dread, haha, that's right.